Yeah, it's fine now. Okay, so we are right.
How do I display myself as well? Am I
Okay.
visible there?
Yeah, you are visible there. Yeah. So
Okay.
hey, hi all of you. We are live again on our Hack Jaipur channel, right? So I welcome you all once again to our Hack Jaipur Hackathon, right? So it's a pleasure to see you all again. So today we are having Yashraj Nayak with us, a developer who turned into a community manager. Right, he's one of the most known DevRel guy in India, and having a lot of good connection with the community manager across India. He's influencing committees on a very large scale. So even actually, I am following him from so long as well. So I also started my community manager career by following him. So that's a great pleasure to sharing the same platform with him today. So Yashraj Nayak is an India community manager of Progate, and Progate is an edtech platform. It's a Japan MNC. So now I hand over to Yashraj Nayak. He is going to discuss, tell you a story about like his theme will be storytelling into a digital age. So it's like something new topic and something interesting. So I'm also excited to listen him. So let's be there, listen Yashraj Nayak and what's his kind of discussion he's going to take about. Yashraj Nayak, hands over to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. So can you hear me all right?
Yes, we all can hear you.
Thank you. Thank you, Yash. Thank you, Mayank, for the invitation. It's pleasure to be here for to speak during the Hack Jaipur, and also this topic. It's very close to my heart. It's about storytelling and something which not many techies or developers talk about. And I believe it's equally important for us to uh, the people side of technology is equally important as much as the technology itself, like the people behind it and how it impacts, how it empowers, and what kind of the impact it generates. Those stories, they are equally important. So I really would like to share some of those. And yeah, so let's begin. I will just begin with my screen. All right. So, what is storytelling? What and why? So, I've actually changed the title a little bit for the session because storytelling is a huge topic. It's just like education, right? And when we talk about inside education, there are different things like technical education, other kind of education. So, similarly goes with storytelling. And storytelling, I wanted to touch upon few points which will be helpful for all students out there, and definitely it will be helpful for all everyone who is looking forward to build their career in technology. So what and why, talking about that those are the things I'll be talking about. So before that, a little bit about me. Yash has already introduced. As he said, I manage the communities and growth at ProGate. It's an online platform from Japan, and it's been over more than 4 years now. I'm into professional community management. Also, I speak C Sharp and JavaScript. C Sharp is the first language I truly started development in, which was for Windows Phone. So that's a story for another day. And I love talking about technology, as you know, as you can see, and space, uh, astronomy, and everything all about space. So yeah, that's pretty much about me. I'm at Yashraj Nayak almost everywhere on LinkedIn and Twitter. I would love to connect. So storytelling in action. So first, I'll tell about the community. So what the community is, as you know, the definition that people of similar mindset, they come together to share stories. And when they so community is not just a group of people, right? And if there are, for example, let's say we have 20 people in a community, so important is not that we have 20 people. What is more important is that how many connections these 20 people share with each other. So for example, and that can be very impactful. I will just give you an example. Let's say you have 20 people in a community. You're trying to bring people together who share, let's say, those who want to talk about mental health. Mental health is pretty important. So those people who, like, those who want to share, and those who want to talk about mental health, those who want to share, whatever is happening. So these people, when you bring them together, just imagine, like, person A talking to person B, person A talking to person C, person A talking to person D, and that's just, we are only talking about person A. Person B has their own connections, so each, these permutation combination, that is massive, and this is only with 20 people, right? And just imagine when we increase this number, how it goes beyond. So that is the community. And now how storytelling helps here is that I believe that storytelling is the language of community. You cannot build a community without a story. For example, when you tried to build those 20 people together who share the same mindset of mental health, those who wanted to share about mental health, you told a story, right? You told them, in order to invite them, you told a story that, hey, I'm Yashraj, and I though I'm a techie, but I really think that mental health is very important, and not many people talk about it. So do you also want to talk about it? We can just, create a group and have people where we can share our whereabouts, and we can just share our experiences with each other, so that we feel less lonely, especially during this time. This is a story, right? So this community cannot be created, cannot function without stories. And I'll give you my example. When we started, when we wanted to when I wanted to connect with others who are also developing Windows Phone applications, back in 2014, or even earlier, I think, that was the time when not many people were actually there who were into that space, and I was not actually finding that community I was looking for. So I decided to build one, and that's a very good point, by the way. Like, if you do not find a community where you think you belong, you should build one, right? People will come. And that's what we did. I just tried to reach out to someone who also shared the same mindset, and we started the first Microsoft technical community in central India, in Indore. And that community is now 3,000 people, just in 4 years. And how it all started with a story, right? When we hosted our first activity, it was a Windows 10 developer event. So we actually tapped on the much powerful story which was floating around that time. A new operating system was coming up, Windows 10, and uh, that what are the new features, how it can help consumers, how it can help developers, what are the new things which they can develop on. And all this was a very good story for us to tell to people, and we started with this strong story. I actually have that picture over here. This was a one of the workshops which we did on Windows application development back then. And whenever we started with something, we always started with the story, like why we are talking about whatever we are talking about. So even though we were talking about, let's say, app development, we started with uh, a video. We started with a sort of so I'll tell you how I used to do it. When I used to open our events and activities, when we did our initial activities, I never started with like a welcome, or I never started with just introducing the first speaker of the day, because I really thought that it's very important for people to be able to feel welcome, that yeah, they belong there. They're just not there in a room, and they just don't happen to be there. They're there because for a reason. And how I tried to do that, like, I in the beginning, we did not have this strong stories to tell. So I took help from these very inspiring videos from different companies like Microsoft. And these videos, they were about empowerment, how people are using technology and they're making a positive change. I remember playing one video about Nepal earthquake, and how cloud was helping them to mitigate, or how cloud technologies were helping them to speed up the process of reconstruction. That was a real impact, that was a real story. And it was not made up, it was actually happening there. And whenever we did, for example, an activity, an event on cloud, I always started with that video. I never started with me coming on stage and welcoming everyone. I always started with that video. In that moment, everyone, they are focused and they understand, they get that story why they are there. And then once that is done, I come on stage and then I welcome them. I try to connect them with whatever we have seen. I tell them that, yeah, that is something which why we are here, and that is that was applied almost everywhere. We never did the activities the conventional way. We always tried to tell the story behind it. I remember one more occasion when we wanted to teach people Git. I'm sure many of you already know about Git and version control. So we didn't just introduce them, hey, this is Git, this is version control, all that jargon. What we did is that we created a story. We told them that, hey, we have these three people. We actually had 3 4 presenters in that talk, and we told them that, hey, we have let's imagine we have a software development team, and these people are part of it, but these all, they have different expertise, and they are working, they want to work on different segments of this project. How we ensure that all their work is automatically saved, and it's also, the versions are saved. How do we do that? So we created a repository, and then one person created a repository, one person pushed some code, another person opened that code, they did some changes, they did the commit. It was all happening live, like a story, right? And they could see that it was not monotonous. It was all because of a story. And that is how I think storytelling can come into action in the community, in especially technical communities space. So if you are doing something of that sort, I would really recommend you to try to look for a story, build one. If you don't find any, build one, and then convey that message with the story. Another story I have to tell from the same community of ours in Indore is Hour of Code. So Hour of Code, even though it has been there for a while, we wanted to do something even more impactful. So we just, like, the people you see in the bottom, they are all the volunteers. So we all came together. We did Hour of Code as a citywide campaign, reaching hundreds, like more than 8,000 students in different schools of the city in just 1 week, and inspiring them to code. And this, we wanted to tell this in an impactful way. So this picture actually tells a story. What this tells is that this was the time when Hour of Code was almost done, and we wanted to tell the world, we want to tell everyone that, yeah, Hour of Code, what is Hour of Code, why coding is important, what we have done, that we have inspired a lot of school kids to start coding, and that is powerful. And we wanted to tell people that why it is important, not just because to tell that we have done it, but also to tell that, because someone, we have done it, you can also do it, to tell that story. And we wanted to make it powerful. So someone came up with this idea that, yeah, let's group the students together in HOC, which stands for Hour of Code. And we took this picture from a upper angle. And this picture, this shows the energy, right? This shows the energy that everyone is happy. And this is still, I think it was taken in 2015, and right now it's 2020, and still featured on the Global Hour of Code website. So if you go there, you will find this picture. This is from Indore, from India. And that is a very that story I love to tell always. And that is an example how storytelling comes into action when we talk about community. Next, I would like to talk about is looking for opportunities. So I think this is something which a lot of you would relate to. Many of you might be in college, freshers, or in your pre-final, final year students looking for opportunities. How you can use storytelling. First is build your elevator pitch. I'm sure you have heard this term before. Try to build your own elevator pitch. Who you, which really explains who you are. For example, if you remember in the beginning when I started with Who Am I? I'm Yashraj Nayak. what I do is I have built and managed developer communities. I'm given my coding background, and what I'm trying to do is that I'm looking forward to connect with everyone who is interested in technology. Also, so that is little elevator pitch, which is relevant to this particular session. But your elevator pitch should be ready with you, like a template, which should be ready with you, which you should try to apply whenever you meet new people, because people really listen to what you say in the first few seconds of your conversation. They give you maximum of attention, and you need to grab that. You need to make the most out of that little time slot you have. So you do not want to waste that trying to talk about things which are less important. So try to work on your own elevator pitch. For example, if you're a third year student, include who you are, definitely, then include what your skills are, like you're good in JavaScript, you're good in Node.js, and then tell what you have been doing, like you've been working on this sort of project, and then end your elevator pitch with what you're looking forward to. Are you looking forward to a new project to work on? Are you looking forward to definitely it will depend on the person you're talking to, but end your elevator pitch with a call to action, so that it acts as a conversation starter. So that is, elevator pitch is the part one of how storytelling can come into action when you're looking for opportunities. Second part of this is understand, like be clear what you're looking for. So many a times what I have noticed that many students who contact us for an internship, for a role, for something, they're not clear what they're looking for. I'll give you an example. For example, you asking someone, hey, how I can get an internship, that's the wrong question to ask, because you haven't, maybe chances are you're meeting this person for the first time, at least in person. So so asking that question without you setting up the right environment, without that person knowing you, without that person knowing your skills, that's the wrong question to ask. So but definitely you do not have that much time, not always, right? During conferences, during events, you do not have that time to tell all the information one person. So what you can do, definitely you can start with, hey, I'm Yashraj. I have been doing JavaScript for over 3 years now, and I have these 4 or 5 projects which I would love to talk about, and I'm really looking forward to some internship opportunities. So that person got some idea, like, yeah, who you are and what you have done so far and what you're looking forward to. And also definitely, like, yeah, second one I would say is, uh, you can always examine, you can always think about your question, what you're about to ask, before you actually do it. For example, someone asking, hey, which framework is good, like React or Angular, that's again a wrong question to ask, because that depends on your use case, right? Like what you're trying to do. So instead, just talking about that example, a better question would be, hey Yashraj, I'm trying to build a shopping cart app, or like a to-do app, and I already know some JavaScript. I'm good in JavaScript. I'm trying to build, like I'm trying, and it should be really scalable because I'm trying to launch it for a general public. So do you know which tool? And these are the things which I've already done, and which now, what do you suggest, how I should go further? Give them some background, right? Instead of just asking random question, what you should do, you should give them some background. So that is how storytelling can be in action, looking for opportunities. So I covered both the parts, right? I covered both the parts, that with an elevator pitch you can make a good first impression, and how you can ask better questions, how you can look for better opportunities by doing that. Okay, so yeah, this is another example, one of our community pictures, and we regular session in between, and the speaker was trying to engage them, not talking about technology at that time, but yeah. So that was also storytelling in action. They were just telling their own experiences so far, like why they're talking about Angular, right? And then there must be, I do not remember the exact moment, like why they raised their hands, but there must be something funny, which they all could relate to, and everyone was happy, right? And actually, this is something which I will be talking about in my next segment of this talk, which is how to give a great demo. This is, I think, really helpful for everyone, especially who is participating in the hackathon. Those who not just in hackathon, but if you have created a project and you want to share about it with someone, or you want to record a demo video to be able to upload on your channel so that people can see, and other things. How you can effectively do that. So for this segment, I would like to give credits to Steve Clayton, chief storyteller of Microsoft. I really look up to him. He is such a great presenter. He's such a great storyteller. And if you do not know about him, you should definitely Google. He is the person who is always behind the stories and the they say at Microsoft. So yeah, the slides I've taken from his talk. So first, this segment is about how to give a great demo, right? So again, coming on, step one, tell a story. Build time should always be there. So for example, if you are building some solution which is solving some problem, talk about that problem a little bit, like what that problem is and why you thought that it was important to solve that problem. For an example, again, this is an example from Steve Clayton himself, that Microsoft, I do not know how many years ago, but they came up with live translations, live speech translations during video calls. I think they came up with Skype on that. And when Steve was demonstrating this in front of the world in one of the biggest conferences Microsoft does for their partners, Steve was demonstrating this feature for the first time. And instead of just directly, coming on the solution, hey, this is what we have done, he started with a story. He started with a story of his own uh, grandmother, who was not grandmother, I think it was mother-in-law. Yeah, mother-in-law, who was Chinese, and she could not speak English, and because of that, he could not communicate with her effectively. So he said that something like this would really help him, not just uh, you know not just to talk, but to make their relationship even better, right? They would be able to exchange their thoughts and ideas even better. So that was the impact. That's the story which he started with. Then he did a demo of that particular feature live, in which he was talking to someone who speaks German, and it was all getting translated live. So everyone was really amazed to see, because he started with that story, right? And now they are seeing the solution. Always start with a story. Have a great opening, definitely. As I give an example, stories definitely will help you have a great opening, but try to instead of that, try to come up with some ideas which will generate interest of people who are listening to you, who are going to see your demo. So have a great opening. How you can do this, few ways can be, you can uh, put some information, right? You can give some examples, like how I gave you an example of hour of code, that picture. I gave you an example of that community talk which we have taken. So have some examples. You can have a great opening. And if it totally depends, if you have something to show, like in the beginning, like a small video or something, you can try to do that if you have some time. That will help you to set up a good mood among the audience who is listening to you. Be wary of dead moments. What this means is that definitely, during a demo, there can be moments where nothing is happening. So, for example, something is loading, or maybe your software is stuck, or something which you didn't anticipate would happen. And things happen, right? You should always be ready for that. So how you can be ready for these moments would be to think of some activities, like some things you will be doing when nothing is happening, because people do not like silence. And also silence allows them to navigate away from what you're talking about. So they will quickly navigate away from what you're talking about, and being able to bring them back to what you were talking about, it's going to be tough. So it's better not let them go away. How you can do that is think of some things. For example, like when your demo is loading, it's not working, and it's still loading, right? I just hope it's not stuck, but if it's still loading and it's gonna take 10 to 15 or maybe 20 seconds, keep some phrases ready for that moment. For example, you can talk about your architecture. You can talk about things which came up in your mind, you wanted to do, but you ended up doing this, something like that, right? So be wary of those dead moments. That is just one example. You can come up with more examples how you can do that. Have a great close. So this good story has a good opening and a good ending. Very important. So this is what people remember the most: a good start and a good end. So you should always think of a great close. How you want to close your demo. What should be the last impression you have before get off the stage, or before you close your demo. What is that last thing you want to say? For example, it can be something like a live example of an application of your demo. If you have created some project and you must have done some research, you must have done some testing, and that if you have some story to tell which can give them in a great confidence, like, yeah, this solution which you've talked about, it's not only in theory but it works. This is the live example. Have a great close. So that's just one example how you can have great close. You can definitely think about, if you do not have a story to tell, just try to do something which is not expected, right? Which is for example, have something like a gif or something on your slide or something. Just try to have a great close which kind of sets your story apart from others. Yeah, so those were the few examples I wanted to cover, like how you can utilize storytelling. And remember, uh, like uh, you can trust me that this is not rocket science. Everyone can become a good storyteller. What a good story has a good start and a good end. If the structure, right, and it is impactful. So once you know that, anybody can utilize storytelling in whatever you're doing. Doesn't matter what you're trying to achieve. If you're trying to get opportunities, you can utilize storytelling with elevator pitch. You can utilize storytelling with asking the right questions, building up, like giving some background before you come on to the thing which you're asking about. Those can be the things. When you're giving a demo, how you can utilize storytelling to talk about the impact. I talked about the live impact of cloud in the beginning. I talked about how cloud solutions were helping uh, the people in Nepal to speed up the reconstruction process, to be able to visualize the data and everything. So that was the live example. How and this, I think, right now we are in the middle of situation here where COVID is all around, and how technology is helping. So I'm sure whatever you're talking about, you will find some example how that particular technology is being used and is already impacting lives of others. So find that example, and I think a great way to share anything or to talk to others is to say, let me tell you a story. So yeah, that is what I had to share about storytelling. Any I sorry, I was not looking at the questions. I just Yeah. Thank you everyone who stayed till the end. If you have any questions, I would love to take them. Thank you, Aditya. I hope that helps. definitely you all should look at what storytelling means in for technology, how you can utilize storytelling in your own ways. Few things I have mentioned in my talk here, but definitely this is a short talk. I cannot cover everything which is there, but I think that it can help all of us to do whatever we are doing even better. Start with the story. Yeah, yes. So that would be all from my side. Thank you, Akansh.
Hi Yash, thank you for joining us, and it was a great session. We had a great learning from it, and surely we will be implementing storytelling in our own projects. And once
Yep.
again, thank you everyone for joining, and thank you Yashraj.
Thank you, everyone. Yeah, I think
And
we have one
there's
question from Steven. How does work in community add to our resumes as and profiles? How does one start working in DevRel? Okay, so yeah, that's a good question. I I would like to take a live example of that, like how when I was a student partner or Microsoft student partner, um, I did not focus on telling that I am a student partner. What I focused on telling what I've done as a student partner. Right? It was out of code. It was the Microsoft community in Indore. It was all other things which I had, what were things which I had done my contributions to. That story, those things will definitely add to your profile. And uh, when you are when you are trying to explain, when you're trying to uh, put it in your profile, in your resume, let's say LinkedIn or somewhere, try to explain those things. What are the things which you have contributed, and that definitely adds up to your profile, because people can see you, yeah, in this community, what or the contributions you have done. And I think that's the first part of your question, how work in community add to your profile. That is how it can be added. Not just mention that you were part of this community, but mention what you did, what were your contributions, and those things are really important. How does one start working in DevRel? So this is a very, I think, like a broad question, because it depends at what stage you are at. So if, I would assume um, uh, you have asked this question on behalf of all the student developers who are out there, who have started with their technology journey, are interested in developer relations. Thankfully, developer relations a few years ago used to be only uh, is limited to people who have a really really good technology experience, like 5 years to 10 years engineering experience, because it needed them to understand the core parts of it, to be able to talk about it, to be able to talk to their customers. But now things have changed. At the rate technology is evolving, at the rate different technologies are coming, DevRel, there are opportunities even for the beginners, even for those who have done some contribution and now looking for opportunities for DevRel. There are opportunities for them as well, and definitely, uh, as you've asked, how does one start working in DevRel? Is to have your contributions ready, have those stories ready, and when you can. Whenever you look, you can start connecting with people who you think uh, you know would have those opportunities, or can give you just an idea like how you can go about it. So my advice would be to connect with existing DevRel professionals who are in the industry, and have your stories ready of your impact. Start with that story, tell them that why you're interested, why you're passionate. And for example, how I tell that why I'm into technical community management, why I'm into developer relations, why even though we are a coding learning platform, why I have this role which I have right now, why we do what we do, is because I truly believe in that I truly believe the impact we can create by introducing more and more beginners who do not come from technology background to coding. right? And we have so many stories. We already have so many stories from those people who come from absolutely mm, like opposite background, like no coding experience, no computer science degree at all, and they have become such a great engineer. They're creating real projects with real impact. And they were not, they did not know even anything about coding at all just a few years ago. So that is why that is my story. So you can come up with your own story, like why you're passionate, and then when you have these things ready, your contribution and your story, why you're passionate about, start reaching out to people. And definitely, if they do not have opportunities ready for you, they will keep you in your mind, and that actually happens. That not many people actually take the first step. If you're taking the first step, that is automatically setting you apart from others, right? By reaching out to that person, you're already setting yourself apart. And then even if they do not have any recommendations or any opportunities for you, they will keep you in their mind, and you will hopefully get some ideas from that. Ikansh is asking, is devrel in India is about marketing? This is uh, I I think this is totally different now. It might like this is beyond. This is before I actually entered the developer relations. When I thought that developer relations is all about marketing, but now developer relations is just one. It's an umbrella. Under that, there are different segments. If you haven't heard of those terms, I would really recommend you to like you know research more about developer relations. So one part of it is developer marketing. Definitely. So that part, which is called developer marketing, is about reaching out to the audience, which who can be the target, who can be the potential uh, like the users of that particular product, and that is about developer marketing. But there are other things like evangelism or developer evangelism or just in developer relations in general. There are a lot of things which are not about all about marketing. They are about impact. They're about what you can do with this technology. They're not about the outcome of this. And I'm sure I have seen what I've seen so far is 70-80% which I've seen so far in this industry, developer relations in technical community management. All those people are in that category, that they do not care about the outcome. Like what they care about is like what they care about is uh, the goal which anyone they are talking to, what they can achieve. So for example, if someone is trying to demonstrate their technology, they will start with what you can achieve, and then they try to place that particular technology as a medium, right? So I've seen most people like that. So I can see I can say no, it's not all just about marketing. There is a segment. There are people who are called developer marketing. The departments are totally different. They have their own goals. But devrel is not only about marketing. Yes, I hope that answers your question, Ekansh. uh, and I think that is a developer marketing is is a area between which connects like marketing and uh, devrel teams as well, because these people need to have skills which are required from a marketeer. Also, they need to have a developer mindset. They need to have like they need to understand the needs of developers, because they are their audience, right? So if you talk about any marketeer, it depends on who we are talking to. So yeah, um, I really do not think that there is any good or bad here. All the roles are really good. They're all about creating impact. Yeah, so I think that those were the questions. And in case you have anything you would like to connect me about, anyone who is listening, I am just sharing my uh, the starting slide again. So this is me. You can connect with me on at Yashraj Nayak on LinkedIn, on Twitter. I would be happy to connect. And yeah, thank you, Mayank. Thank you, Yash, for this opportunity. I really enjoyed talking about stories, about how stories can yeah, can help in technology.
Thank you, Yashraj. Once again, it was a pleasure having you, and thank you everyone for joining us. So you can reach out to Yashraj anytime you want and with any query you have. Okay, so we'll be ending the broadcast here, and it was great having you, Yashraj. Thank you everyone, and bye bye.
Bye, everyone.